I'm Amber Paxton with the Financial Empowerment Center, and you're watching Money Power. Money Power will help you learn ways to get money, save money, and manage money. The show is part of the City of Lansing's Financial Empowerment Center, a partnership between the city and Capital Area Community Services. The Financial Empowerment Center offers free one-on-one financial counseling to Lansing residents. Call 211 today to schedule your free appointment. It's safe, confidential, and can help you pay off debt, improve your credit score, access safe and affordable bank products, and save for the future. The Lansing Financial Empowerment Center is made possible by a grant from the Cities for Financial Empowerment Fund, a program of Bloomberg Philanthropy's Mayor's Project. Thanks for watching Money Power. I hope you learned something that gives you the power. You can do it. We can help.
Okay, I'm Peggy Vaughn Payne, Executive Director with Northwest Initiative. We're a nonprofit community development organization working to improve the overall health of the community, quality of life for low to moderate income residents in Northwest Lansing. The Westside Farmers Market is 3 years old this summer. It's a program of Northwest Initiative, and it came out of the fact that we live in what's called the food desert. So a lot of our target audience, which are low to moderate income households, do not have access to fresh fruits and vegetables. And we wanted to be able to provide them with some healthy alternatives at the, other than the local convenience stores. And so we started the market, like I said, 3 summers ago. And we're pleased to offer it. We have quite a few farmers that participate. We have about 5 farmers and quite a few other vendors that have a variety of things so people can come out and enjoy the afternoon. And we also have recipes that are done, taste samplings that are done by our Food Systems program, and so they are able to sample a recipe, get a recipe card to take home and replicate it if they like it. And we do that so that people get to sample and try new vegetables that they may never have tried in a particular, cooked a certain way. We are open on Mondays, Monday afternoons from 3:30 to 7. We started June 17th, we'll go through October 14th. We are located on Martin Luther King between Saginaw and Oakland in a huge parking lot behind the Sparrow Professional Building on Saginaw and the North Westminster Presbyterian Church. They can go to our website, which is www.in as in Nancy, W as in Walter, Lansing.org. There are a lot of things to purchase at the market, everything from freshly grown and picked fruits and vegetables to plants that you can take home and garden yourself with, to other Michigan-made products or homemade baked products or food vendors like barbecue or things like cookies and the baked goods and jewelry and tutus. And we have our youth entrepreneurial program that's here this summer that are coming up with a variety of things that they're making and selling as well. And we've got some woodworking guys that sell stuff. We also highlight every week a nonprofit that comes out and sets up shop and try to support our other local nonprofit organizations in town that have either provide services or have things to offer our target audience. They're a good resource because it just brings, it helps support our farmers. Number one, you're getting things as fresh as possible. These things, like I said, these items were picked yesterday or this morning. You can't get it more fresh than that unless you have your own garden. And so, there's a big taste difference between something that's picked fresh today or yesterday versus something that's been sitting in a warehouse for 3 weeks, before it gets out. Many of our communities are food deserts, and so we have a lot of low-income people that live in the food deserts, but they don't have access to fresh fruits and vegetables every day. They live, 4 to 5 miles away from the big box grocers. So having a farmers market that comes right direct into a local neighborhood is a really great thing to help people access fresh fruits and vegetables, and as well as the other vendors who provide and offer a lot of different kinds of products that are made in Michigan. They can use cash, of course. They can use their EBT bridge card. If they do that, they're also eligible to receive up to the maximum amount is $20 per day, but they can get a match for their Double Up Food Bucks, which means if they spend $10 in food stamps, they'll get $10 in Double Up Food Bucks to be spent on fresh grown Michigan fruits and vegetables. And so that's a bonus, okay? That makes sense for me, for anybody who has a bridge card, to come out and use that freebie service. You can also use your credit card, debit card, and get a $5 coin that's used just like cash at the market. And then finally, we also accept Project Fresh and Market Fresh coupons. And WIC Project Fresh is a program that distributes coupons for fresh fruits and vegetables, Michigan-grown fruits and vegetables at local farmers market to women who participate in the WIC program. And then Senior Project Fresh is the same program but specifically designed for senior citizens, and so you'd have to get them through the Tri-County Office on Aging or some other center that specializes and provides services for senior citizens. Generally, you're given a $20 coupon booklet at the beginning of the season that you can use in $2 increments at any local farmers market in the state. And so it's a really, it's another little perk that helps the seniors and mothers on WIC to be able to get out and access some fresh fruits and vegetables to supplement their, family food. Come out and support the Westside Farmers Market on Mondays from 3:30 to 7. We'd love to have you meet our vendors. We've got some awesome vendors out here, including a couple of honey vendors, so that's really neat too. And also just to visit any of the local farmers market. We've got quite a few in the mid-Michigan area. It's grown tremendously over the last 5 years, so come out and support the local farmers.
All right, well, my name is Jim Crane. I'm a financial empowerment counselor, and my job is to evaluate different clients and review their financial situation, kind of take apart all of the complexity with what's going on with them, and then we break it back down into some basic elements: budget, credit report. It really starts with the very basics, and a lot of it centers around the budget. And then we try and put things back together so that as they're building out of their situation, that they're going to be stronger because they've kind of realigned their goals and have a focus.
Hi, my name is Joan Melton. I came to Jim. My son was the one who told me about the financial service. I had no idea what I was coming for, but it's been a real help to me. Jim is a very congenial person, easy to talk to, and my goal when I came was to pay off some old debts and get my own senior apartment. I've been living with my son and his wife once after my husband passed away in '08. Then we moved into a house. I decided to move in with a friend from there. Then I moved back with them recently. And that's working out okay. And this has helped me. I've always been able to manage my money, but it's helped me to focus more on what my goal is and to reach it.
Yeah, because you had a lot of competing things going on. You were trying to take care of what you had left behind, and she's very responsible, so she was making payments on a lot of old debt, and she's still trying to manage the old debt part of things, but really right now we're trying to focus on getting her credit cleaned up as much as possible so we can focus on her, getting her into senior housing and getting her established in her own home, basically.
I miss it.
Yep. And she's ready. She's ready for it. So, and one of the cool things for her was that she's a bookkeeper, so she was already used to writing things down. She already had her own little system of how she kept her details. So I was impressed the first time through because she just had everything out. She had a folder, she had everything written down, she had all of her bills. She just kept meticulous records. It's worked out really well. Obviously we've got a ways to go yet, but she has been keeping track. We started out with the spending log sheets, but she actually keeps track in her own private calendar, which is even better because she can keep track on a daily basis. Everything, she's got all of her appointments in here, but more importantly, she keeps us with her at all times, so then she's got a way to just write something down right away, because it's not where, a lot of times with expenses, we know where all of our dollars go. It's just those little $1 here and $3 there or $10 somewhere else that we kind of forget about.
Yeah, especially if you're paying cash. You know, the debits I have to write in the checkbook, but you don't always know where all that cash goes.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I think when we get back to taking those building blocks and really, a lot of it focuses around the budget. And most people think, well, I don't earn very much, so I don't really need to write things down, but it's all relative to income and expenses, and you just have to spend less than you bring in every month, and that's easier said than done. So we've been tracking expenses for a few months now, and we've made some adjustments in the way that we're handling some of the debt issues. So it's just kind of a work in progress. When they first come in, our initial visit, a lot of it's done with a rough budget. We just do a verbal budget. We just go through a lot of the income and expense information, and then give them the spending logs to go out and start tracking their daily expenses, because a budget's only as valuable as the information that's in it. And when you're guesstimating what you're spending and you're remembering most of it, that's a good start. But then this is kind of the next step up, is to say, okay, here's where we're started from, but now let's keep track and accurately track each dollar so that you can group all those like purchases into your food grocery budget every month. And you know, the tracking part is what I call the guts of the budget. It's only as good as what you're inputting. The thing about the budget tracking sheets is that it helps you develop a pattern of behavior. And when you're stopping periodically and only spending $2 or $3 here or $2 or $3 there, you think, hey, I did really well. And then you get down to the end of the week or the end of the next week and you're out that 20 bucks, you really have no idea where it went. You know, that's one of the benefits of tracking it, is it gives you a visualization and helps you capture some of those habits that maybe need to be reined in a little bit or corrected somewhat, or just kind of helps you control.
It makes you more aware.
Tracking sheets are just kind of the basic structure so that you can get yourself established, because really the bottom line is trying to get a control on expenses, but everybody has their own system. It's whatever works for each individual person.
Basically, before I started this, I didn't have a specific budget, but I keep a notebook where I write down all my regular monthly bills, and those are all paid. Whatever I have left over is what I have to spend, and that's how I was doing things before. But this has made me more aware of those little things, like he says, you go get this or you get that, and you don't think about it unless, you know, you write it down. My son and his wife, my daughter-in-law, had an appointment, and he said, well, you're going too, and I said, okay. I didn't know for what at the time, but I'm very glad.
Usually when you sit down and you start with a client, you have a certain idea of how to move through a situation, but it's very fluid. And especially with credit, there's a lot of things that you can do to get things straightened up and resolved without having to go to you know, bankruptcy or those kinds of things. So I think just an overall awareness of what needs to happen and what doesn't need to happen and why not, and just kind of continually revising what we're thinking we're going to get accomplished. And what we try and do is boil it back down into little nuggets that are that we can work and accomplish, and that's what we do each session. We find a nugget that we're working towards, and we'll just keep tweaking it as we go. And that's how you solve any problem. You take a big issue and you make them into smaller ones.
Yeah, one at a time.
Yeah.
I've noticed I'm more conscious of my spending.
I think what I've seen with Joan was just that she already had the ability, but now I think she has the confidence.
Yes.
That's what I've seen.
Yeah, I have felt more confident. Yeah, I think it's a very good program. I think a lot of people could benefit from it. And also the fact that it was a free service to me. That means a lot, because a lot of people need help of one kind or another, but you don't always have the means to pay for it. Or maybe you don't know the route to take to get to a person that can help you with whatever the problem is. And I would recommend it to anyone. It can't hurt, it can only benefit.
I'm Tiffany Lemieux McKissick, and I'm the director of the Asset Independence Coalition. And we're a coalition of government agencies, nonprofits, and different community members that came together in 2004 to help families in Ingham, Eaton, and Clinton County help to connect with the resources available to provide them with some financial independence. So VITA is Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, and that's a program through the IRS, through the federal government, that helps people get their taxes done for free. So if you make under $51,000 a year as a household, then you can come to, we have 29 different sites in Lansing, and you can come get your taxes done for free by IRS certified volunteer income tax preparers. So in order to get your taxes done through a VITA site, you just have to make under $51,000 a year. And the important thing to note about that is that's not your gross income. That's your income after deduction. So that's your adjusted gross income has to be under $51,000. If you're not sure if you qualify, if you're not sure if your household income is $51,000 or below, you can come see us. And what would happen is we'll look at your gross income and then all of your deductions. And it may be higher, so you may make $75,000 a year, but you have all these deductions and you still may qualify for our program. So if you're not sure, you should check with us and see if you qualify. So if you would like to get your taxes done for free or just find out information, you can dial 211, and that's a service just like 911. You just pick up your phone and dial 211, and what will happen is an operator, they're on call 24 hours a day, and then they'll ask you questions and they'll figure out if you qualify for a VITA, and then they'll set you up with an appointment. We have 29 different sites in Lansing, and so once you call 211, they'll get you all the information you need and they'll get you set up. And then once you come to your appointment, there's certain documents that you need to bring. For sure, you need to bring your ID, your social security card. Those are very, very important, and we cannot do your taxes without them. And then you also need to bring any income information, anything that you have collected throughout the year that you think will be relevant to your taxes. Some things that people don't realize that might be relevant are your utility bills, so consumers, because there's some credits you can get through consumers. Also, if you're renting, we need your lease so we know how much you pay for rent, and if you qualify for the homestead property tax. So deductions and credits can be really confusing, and I don't want you to stress about that because it's confusing even for us sometimes, but something that is really important to know that it's helpful is the difference between deductions and credits. So deductions are something that reduces the amount of money that that reduces your income. So a deduction is something that makes your income less for what's taxable. A credit is something that reduces the amount of tax liability or the amount of taxes that you owe. And within credits, there's two different kinds of credits. There's refundable and non-refundable. So non-refundable means that it can reduce your tax liability to zero, but you won't get money back for those credits. Refundable credits mean that they can reduce your tax liability below zero, and that's when you get a refund. So it's the refundable credits that give you that refund. So there's a lot of different kinds of refundable credits and non-refundable, but some of the most notable refundable credits that are important for you to know about are the Earned Income Tax Credits. There's also another child tax credit, and there's the American Opportunity Tax Credit. The one that gives you the most potential in your refund is called the Earned Income Tax Credit. That's a federal credit as well as a state credit. And some of the things that you need to know, your tax preparer should be able to help you, but it's really important that if they don't mention the Earned Income Tax Credit, that you ask them. And so what's important about the Earned Income Tax Credit is that in order to qualify, you have to have a valid social security number, you have to be over 25, but under the age of 65. You must have earned income. And then there's a few other guidelines that get more complicated, and it's also based on the amount of money that you make. But you should definitely ask your tax preparer about the Earned Income Tax Credit because you can get back up to $5,800 in 1 year with the Earned Income Tax Credit, depending on your family size. And something that's notable is the IRS estimates that about 20% of people that qualify for the Earned Income Tax Credit don't take it. And so in 2009, Anderson Economic Group, they're a research group that's local, figured out there's about $365 million that are left on the table in the local economy because of tax credits that are not claimed. So there's a huge pool of money that people are not taking advantage of. So it's another reason why you should come to the VITA program, because a lot of times we can get you more money. We're trained to look for those credits, and we can, a lot of times, it's free, so you're not even paying for the service, and we typically will get you more money than if you sit down with a paid preparer, because we know to look for the Earned Income Tax Credit. So if you go to a preparer and they miss, for example, the Earned Income Tax Credit, that can mean thousands of dollars for you that you don't see in your refund, and sometimes up to $5,800 is what you're entitled to through the earned income tax credit. Obviously that is critical. That can mean extra groceries, that can mean a summer trip, that can mean, you know, things that we've had people tell us that the amount of money they get from their earned income tax credit and in their refund provide them money to pay their rent on time, to pay their bills, to provide school supplies for their children. So, you know, it's absolutely critical that your tax preparer finds those credits for you. You know, the economy is definitely difficult. Everyone knows that in Michigan. And so these credits can give you thousands of dollars more than without them. So it's absolutely critical that your preparer knows to look for them and is familiar with what you need. And in the VITA program, we train our volunteers to be able to look for these credits and to be able to give people back the money that they earn. In some cases, that's thousands of dollars that's being left on the table. So if you're receiving Social Security or Social Security disability benefits, you should come still and check and see if you need your taxes done. In some cases you don't. However, even though you don't have earned income, you may still qualify for the homestead property tax credit or the home heating credit. And so what we'll do is we'll look at your situation, we'll look at your income, we'll look to see if you qualify for the homestead or home heating. And homestead, even if you're a renter, you could possibly qualify for the homestead tax credit, because in that rent payment, you're also actually paying a portion of the taxes that go for your homestead. So even if you're not earned income, you should definitely still come to a VITA site and let us make sure, because you may qualify for a refund still. So if you haven't filed your taxes yet and you suspect that you are due a refund and you want to check, then make an appointment with us through 211 and we can go through that. You have 3 years after the period of that particular tax season to collect your refund. So as long as you're within that 3-year period, you'll still get your refund. We have 29 different sites that we do volunteer income tax assistance through, or VITA, and those are located in the Tri-County area. We service Ingham, Clinton, Eaton County, but about roughly 3/4 of those sites are located in the city of Lansing. We're at community centers, we're at churches, we're at different government buildings, we're all over. So the best way to find out about our sites is to call 211, and then they will ask you where you live and what your convenient hours are, and then they'll connect you to a site that makes sense for you. But we have a lot of different options, and our 211 operators will be able to help connect you to a site that works for you. So 211 is a really important tool for our community. Not only can you connect to getting your taxes done, but it's a social service equivalent of 911. So if you need help in any realm, if you're looking for housing assistance, food assistance, even if you're looking for volunteer opportunities, you can call 211. And so 211 also is the gateway to many different services, not just taxes. But if you want to make a tax appointment, then you call 211 first. So our program is operated entirely by volunteers. We have a critical need for people, and you don't have to have any tax experience, you don't have to be knowledgeable, you don't have to be an accountant. You just have to be someone that's willing to get the training and that is willing to spend a little bit of time. So if you'd like to volunteer, you can go to our website and you can sign up, and then we'll contact you and you go through an orientation. There's a couple different options for training. You can do an in-person training, which many people like, or you can do an online training, which then you can get the certification. And once you're certified, then we will look at your schedule and your availability, and then you can determine the sites that are convenient for you and the hours that you want to volunteer. So we understand that coming to a VITA site is something that's really personal. You're laying out all of your financial information in front of a perfect stranger and then asking them to take all that information and then accurately put it into a system that you're required to use. So, you know, what I want people to understand is that we take that really seriously, and that our volunteers, you know, are trained and they're prepared, and that they understand your situation. So, you know, it's okay to be nervous. It's okay to feel a little bit unsure about that, but we want you to understand that you can trust us and that you're in good hands. So our volunteers aren't getting paid to do these taxes. They're there because they care about the community and they want to do a good job. Whereas when you go to a paid preparer, obviously they're making money to do this. So our volunteers are doing it because they truly want to make a difference, and they're not just there to make a dollar. And so when you come to us, you know, there's a different level of compassion and thoroughness, you know. And also something that you should understand is a lot of times paid preparers will tell you, it's free, you're not gonna have to pay any money. And then you get there and you realize one portion is free, and then you still have to pay hundreds of dollars, sometimes even up to $1,000, because they don't tell you, they don't fully disclose what their fees are gonna be. They just want to get you in the door. Whereas, you know, we're a service that's sponsored by the federal government. You can rest assured that everything that we're doing is absolutely free. There's no hidden costs, there's no hidden fees. And the people that are doing your taxes are there because they truly want to help you. So some people are nervous about coming to the VITA program because we're sponsored by the IRS and we're connected to the federal government. But what people need to understand is that not only the federal government wants you to have your refund, of course they want you to do your taxes, but it's better for everyone when you get the money that's entitled to for you, and also when their books can balance and they don't have the money sitting in their accounts. So, you know, I think there's maybe some nervousness around that, but people need to understand that, you know, our purpose and our goal is to get you back the money that you deserve, because it's better for everyone in the community for you to have the refund you're entitled to. Another really great service that we provide is if you don't want to come to a VITA site and you want to do your taxes on your own, we have something called My Free Taxes. It's an online software that you can go on your own in your pajamas from home, and you can do your taxes for free. Again, it's completely free, state, federal. You can't do your city from that, but you can do your state and federal, just like a TurboTax. And the nice thing about that is, again, you can do it from home, you can do it on your own, and it's an interview-based software, so even if you don't know anything about tax code or you feel nervous, it'll ask you questions and take you through it, so anyone can do their taxes. So if you're not sure about coming into a site and giving your information to our volunteers, then you can do it on your own right from home.
Hello. Thank you for watching this episode of Money Power. We hope you were able to learn how you can benefit from farmers markets, how to track expenses with spending logs, and how to take advantage of some vital tax credits. Remember, if you have any concerns about your finances, you can call 211 to set up a free appointment. Please tune in next month for another episode of Money Power.